Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a vegan moussaka.
Cause it's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
Okay, so a moussaka, maybe some of you out there haven't heard of this, but it's like a Greek eggplant casserole. It's really rich and really delicious, but typically it's made with ground beef. On the bottom, eggplant, potato, it's got a red sauce, and it's got bechamel sauce, which is a really creamy, but it's usually dairy and butter, and but we are gonna make it healthy and delicious. So I already have my oven set to 400 degrees. And I already sliced two eggplants, about, I don't know, between 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch thick. And we're gonna lightly bake them first, along with our potatoes. So the potatoes, I did the same thing. I've got 2 russet potatoes that I sliced about the same thickness. We're just gonna bake them a little bit first so that they're pre-baked and that you won't end up having any kind of raw vegetable inside of the casserole. So we're just gonna layer these out on our cookie sheet, and I have a couple cookie sheets lined with parchment paper already. And we're not gonna put any oil or anything like that on there because we really just don't need all that extra fat, because these potatoes, and if anybody's cooked with eggplant, you know that eggplant soaks up oil like a sponge, and we don't need all that extra fat. Okay, so the full recipe will be in a link in the details below, along with all of my other recipes on our website. So if you're looking for some delicious, nutritious, plant-based vegan recipes, I have over 100 recipes there that will just knock your socks off. So please go ahead and check that out. Okay, so once we get our eggplant going here, I'm gonna have to maybe set them up a little bit to get them to fit. We're gonna stick it in the oven for about 30 minutes, but it'll be 15 minutes on one side that we'll flip them, and 15 minutes on the other side. And we're just gonna have to watch our potatoes and just see how they do. I'm guessing that 15 minutes is gonna be plenty for them, but we will check. So in they go. Okay, so while our eggplant and potato are cooking, we're gonna get onto the sauce, which like I told you before, is typically made of ground beef. But what I have here is a cup of lentils that I've already cooked, and you just cook them in water and then drain off the water, most of the water. And it comes to about 2 cups of lentils when it's fully cooked. But what we're gonna start in our pan, we're gonna start our onion. We got 1 whole onion diced, really fine, and 4 cloves of garlic. So we're gonna get those cooking a little bit, and then we will probably cook them for about 5 minutes before we add our other ingredients. Okay, now that our onions are about translucent, we're gonna add our other ingredients. So the spices for a moussaka are really interesting, and it may sound like spices you wouldn't put together, but trust me, it's really delicious. So I have about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1.5 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1.5 teaspoons of oregano, and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And then I have some fresh basil. It's about 1 teaspoon of fresh mint chopped up, but you can also use dried mint. So you would probably use about 1/2 teaspoon of dried mint. So we're just gonna put that in with the onions. And I have here a can of diced no salt tomatoes, and 1 can of tomato paste. And then we're gonna add 1/2 cup of red wine, because I love cooking red wine in my red sauce, my marinara sauce. It just gives it this depth of flavor that you can't get from much else. So I'm gonna go with about a little less than a half a cup. And this is just a red wine. It's a cocoa bon, which I'm not even sure what that is, but this is a delicious, I got this from Trader Joe's. It's got kind of this smoky flavor, just delicious. So I'm gonna put that in there. And I'm also gonna put in our lentils. And we're just gonna cook this for about 15 minutes so the flavors really get incorporated while our stuff is baking in the oven. Okay, so we took our eggplant and potato out of the oven. So it took the full 30 minutes. I baked each one for 15 minutes on one side and flipped and baked on the other side for 15 minutes. So the potato is just right. You don't want to get it too cooked, because if you do, then when you pick it up like this, it's just going to fall apart because it's russet potato, and you want to be able to layer it without it falling apart. Okay, so while this is cooling just slightly, we're going to make our bechamel sauce, right? So we're going to put in 1.5 cups of water, 1 cup of cashews, and if you have a cashew sensitivity, you can always use soaked almonds. They work just as good. 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, 1 date. Let me get the pit out of there. 1 tablespoon of mustard, and this again is my no salt mustard, but you can, you can use mustard that has salt in it. It's okay, because that will be distributed out through the whole meal, and there still won't be that much salt in it. But I try to use salt-free ingredients so that we're just not doing any added salt. And 1 tablespoon of white wine vinegar. And then this is kind of the secret for the flavor of moussaka, I feel anyway, the nutmeg. So you put just a little bit of the nutmeg in the cheese sauce, and it gives it that flavor that only moussaka really has. So I would say probably just 1/4 teaspoon. And then we will sprinkle a little bit of it on the top also, because it just looks really nice. Now we're just going to blend this until it's really creamy, and then we'll start assembling the moussaka. Okay, there we go, nice and creamy. Whew, look at that. And we're just going to set it to the side, because just like always, cashews thicken a little bit, and they absorb that water if they haven't been soaked already. So that's why I like to use cashews without soaking them, because while they sit here, they thicken the sauce a bit while we're assembling our moussaka. So I have a casserole dish here. It's just a large casserole dish. It doesn't really matter on the size. It's just gonna matter about how many layers you get, really. So, and I lightly oiled the bottom just because we don't want the eggplant to stick to the bottom. Like when we're scooping it out, we don't want to have all that stuck to the bottom, that deliciousness. So we're just going to layer our eggplants on the bottom. And you can always cut your eggplants lengthwise, just like the potatoes. But I kind of like how they look in little rounds, because I'm going to put another layer towards the top, right under the bechamel sauce, so that you can see it, and it will be really beautiful. Okay, so now that we have that, let's see. We are going to put in our sauce. So our sauce cooked for the full 15 minutes. Now it's beautiful. We're just going to layer that on top of the eggplant, and we're going to just pour all of it. Just going to spread it out a bit. Oh wow, this smells so delicious. I wish you could be here to smell this. It's just, even without it being baked yet, it just smells so amazing. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna layer the potatoes. And this doesn't have to look, You don't have to be super picky about these potatoes because you're not really gonna see these. It just adds that really nice layer in there. Okay, and now I'm gonna layer the last of the eggplant on top of the potatoes. And this is the part that you want to look kind of nice because you're gonna be able to see them peek out through from underneath the cheese just a little bit. So hopefully we have enough here to make this look kind of nice. Okay, like that. All right, I think that will do. Let's set this aside. Okay, can you see that? That is just gorgeous. Okay, now all that's left to do is pour this cheese on, and I lowered the temperature of the oven to 350 degrees. So now we just get to pour it on. And it does, you know, it seems like it's a bit runny, but that's okay, because all of that is just gonna bake right into the casserole. It's going to be so delicious. Just pour all of that on there. Okay, now we're gonna stick that in the oven, and we're gonna put the timer on for 35 minutes and then check it. But it usually takes a whole 45 minutes, but we just don't want it to burn, so I like to always check it at 35. Okay guys, look at this. Oh my gosh, the smell is so good. Now we are gonna cut this. I just took it out of the oven, so hopefully this doesn't just completely fall apart. Wow, look at that. Okay guys, now all it's down to is the taste. Oh, it's gonna be so hot. Wow. Boy, you guys are just gonna love this. Check it out, make this, tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time.